I love this pump. It's impressive, and to see people's faces when they first see it working is pretty funny, but it's got one big problem. Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Well, today we are talking about the Tsurumi HS2.4S. Now let me tell you why I love this pump so much, but what was the one thing that was the deal breaker why I had to return it. The situation of what we needed this for.
So this was a mess. The sewer backed up, and this is a hatch to get down in here into a crawl space. There's a room that is block walls with cement floor, and the blocks, the ground level right here, comes up to just above my armpits, but there's pipes down in the way, so you really have to be crouched like that. Um, Not fun. This had flooded. An old house trap had rotted out and was completely clogged up. So we had to open up the basement floor and dig that out. Before the house trap could be dug up and the pipe fixed, we needed to pump out the water and sanitize it.
At this point, we still didn't know about the house trap. We didn't know exactly what was going on. We didn't know if a water line had burst, but we strongly suspected sewage because of the smell. So the plan at this point is to do this job in three basic stages. Stage one is get the water and everything else out of there and out of the way so we can see what's going on. The next stage is to clean it. And then finally, the third stage is to evaluate what's going on and fix it. So you may have seen my video on the Ryobi stick pump, and I also have a Wayne pump, and they're both great pumps for their purpose. But the problem is they didn't work for this purpose because they are only meant for clean water. If there's any solids, any sand or mud in the water, they really don't like it. Any large solids, especially, it just will clog the screen right up. I actually tried using them by sticking them in the water, and I found out yes, they do clog up fairly quickly. And I tried using a bucket with holes with cloth around the bucket to act as sort of like a screen, but as soon as that cloth got saturated with mud, it would just stop any water flow into the bucket, so the pump couldn't pump the water because it would just be constantly empty. It took forever for that bucket to fill up. So that's where the Tsurumi pump comes in because it is a semi-trash pump, which means it can handle some solids. In this case, it can handle up to 0.3 inches, so it's about a third of an inch, not quite a third of an inch. And it's really nice. It's built really well. Very nice construction. When I first pulled it all out of the box, I was really happy with that. It has a 20-foot length cord, and it just plugs into your standard 110, 120 outlet. It's actually really nice. Nice thick cord. Cast iron on the bottom. It seems very well built. And it flows really fast. Let me show you that right now. By the way, this is coming out of a 27-gallon tote, and I had to refill the tote a few times to get the footage that I wanted because it pumps it out so quick. You can see, compared to a normal garden hose, how thin that is, which is 5/8, to a 2-inch internal diameter hose. There's no on switch, so all we have to do is plug it in and dunk it in there, and we're good to go. Now here's how fast the water comes out of this hose, and keep in mind this is not a garden hose, which is typically 5/8 of an inch inside. This is an internal diameter of 2 inches, and it comes out this fast. So watching the last few clips, you may have noticed exactly why I had to send this thing back. And that's because, okay, I'm at the house, I'm pumping out the water, and I'm loving the build quality of this thing. I'm loving the 20-foot length cord that plugs into a standard outlet. You do not have to worry about any special wiring or anything like that. I'm happy with the flow rate. I'm happy with the fact that it can handle solids up to 0.3 inches. It's not clogging whatsoever. It's flowing out great. And I hear gurgling, and I'm thinking, whoo, it's done already. This is awesome. I love this thing. I go and I look down in there, and there's still some water. And I'm thinking, okay, well, my other pumps leave about 3/8 of an inch on the bottom. No big deal. Well, it turns out when I stuck a stick down in there, a long stick, and it came back up, and there's about 3.5 inches of wet. So, if you do the math, and this room is, let's say, 12 by 12 feet, 3.5 inches is well over 200 gallons of water. Well, I, at the time, only have a shop vac with my largest one was a 5-gallon shop vac. So that means I would have to carry a bucket full of 5 gallons of raw sewage up and down this little ladder, squeezing in and out of this entryway to empty this thing more than 40 times? No thanks. So I ended up having to get a larger shop vac that was powerful enough to stick the hose and wands down in there and suck it from down there up to the ground level where the shop vac itself was. So I'll show you that in another video. So what's the verdict on this thing? Well, if you have a situation where you're able to leave a few inches of water in the bottom, this thing is an amazing product. I love the build quality, I love the cord length and the flow rate and the fact that it can handle some solids. So if you are, let's say you have a swimming pool and it's underground or partially underground, so you can leave some water in the bottom, you just want to get most of the water out in the fall. Well, hey, this thing's going to be awesome for that. It can even handle some small pieces of leaves or whatever, little debris. It just didn't fit my situation because I have some basements that are over 1,000 square feet. So, I mean, you can imagine this little 12 by 12 room, this is nothing. In a basement that's 1,000 or 1,500 square feet, if you have several inches of water, you've got way too much to deal with a shop vac. So, for me, this didn't do the trick for my situations, so I ended up sending it back. But if you have a situation where you can actually leave a few inches of water in the bottom, then this thing is amazing for that. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'd love to talk to you down there. Thank you so much for taking your time to be here and hanging out. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time.